sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm happy. Why should I feel discouraged? Why should the shadows fall? Why should my heart be lonely and long for heaven and home? When Jesus is my portion, whoa, my constant friend is He. Constant friend, His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches over me. I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm free. His eye is on the sparrow. It's on the sparrow. I know He watches over me. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches over me. I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm free. Let not your heart be troubled. His tender words I hear, and resting on His goodness, I lose my doubts and all my fears. Oh, by His path He leadeth, though just one step I may see. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches over me. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches over me. I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm free. I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm free. I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm free. Do fa va va da da do fa va. Do ba da da do ba da do fa va da da do fa va. Do ba da fa va da da do fa da. Do ba da fa va da da do fa da. Do ba da fa va. There's a sweet, sweet spirit in this place, and I know that it's the Spirit of the Lord. There are sweet expressions on each face, and I know they feel the presence of the Lord. Sweet Holy Spirit, sweet heavenly dove, Lord, won't you stay right here with us?
Lord, won't you please fill us with your love?
And for these blessings, we lift our hearts in praise. Without a doubt, we'll know that we have been revived when we shall leave this place. Sweet Holy Spirit, sweet heavenly dove, Lord, won't you stay right here with us?
Lord, won't you please fill us with your love?
With your love, and for these blessings, we lift our hearts in praise. Without a doubt, we'll know that we have been revived when we shall leave this Abide with me. Fast falls the eventide. The darkness deepens. Lord, with me abide. When other helpers fail and comforts flee, help of the helpless, Lord, abide with me. Abide with me, fast falls the eventide. The darkness deepens, Lord, with me abide. When other helpers fail and comforts flee, help of the helpless, oh, abide with me.
was great. Thank you. I'd like to invite you at home to sing along with me. This is a chant, a Hindu chant, Ishvara Pranidhana. It's also a principle of yoga, to surrender yourself to something higher than yourself, whatever that is for you. Ishvara Pranidhana. I say it again and again a few times. I hope you'll sing with me and just feel that surrender. I'm happy to be here with you all today. Thank you. Take me to where you want me to go. Lead me to what you want me to know. I surrender. I surrender. I surrender. The destruction of something begins in the nothing. Life is magical when we allow. I surrender. I surrender. Ishvara Pranidhana. Ishvara Pranidhana. Ishvara. Ishvara Pranidhana. Pranidhana. Ishvara Pranidhana. Open up my heart to see. Give me strength so I can be your loyal devotee. Make my life your decree. I surrender. I surrender. I surrender. I surrender. I surrender. I surrender, I surrender. Ishvara Pranidhana, Ishvara Pranidhana, Ishvara Pranidhana, Ishvara Pranidhana. I surrender. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Roderick and Rudy. Thank you.
That was absolutely beautiful and wonderful, because you may not know it, but the divine had you sing that song for me this morning. And it brings tears to my heart and to my mind, because it's all about surrender. And that's what I've been working on. And to have you sing that song, wow, beautiful. Let's give it up for Miss Sahffi Lynne. Yes. And of course, let's give it up for our wonderful Richard Payne trio. Wonderful. Well, good morning, beloved ones. I am delighted, and I am glad to be back in this sacred space. I want to acknowledge just how beautiful our background looks. It was designed and lovingly shared and put forth by my wonderful colleague, my associate, my prayer warrior, my friend, my dynamic CEO, COO, well, maybe COO, Reverend Cheryl McCullough. Isn't that beautiful, friends? Yes, yes, yes. And it matches, even though I pointed to and the camera's looking at me, but you know how I am. We're back in the place. I want to see my face because I'm talking to the people this morning. And I want to be able to look. I want them to see my face as I see their hearts. So can you give me a shot where I can feel like the people are seeing me and I'm seeing them? Thank you so very much. Yes, thank you, thank you. It's so good to hear our music from our wonderful trio. And I want to take a moment to just thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being a part of this sacred ministry. Because you've been called for a divine appointment for such a time as this, and so have I. I'm here to be a surrendered servant. I read a quote the other day because this is part of the theme that I've been working with, that Spirit has been working with me. And it was from one of my teachers. I had a call from India, and we were doing a class, and the teacher said that true surrender was the ability to do so without any fear. You see, when you surrender and you feel like you're giving up something, but you've got something in the background and you're holding back, and that's not surrender. True surrender is when you're opened up and you're able to do so without any fear. And to do that takes trust in God. Trust in God. You know, beloved ones, for the last few years, especially since my time of moving and traveling to India, moving about in India and traveling to India. And by the way, let's send some special prayers for India. And not because they're going through a tremendous struggle with COVID, but not just India, but there are many, many countries who are not able to manage and handle this pandemic and the ravages of COVID. So let's send them some love and some light. Let's send them our energy because, friends, this is what a light bearer is all about. Putting forth pure energy from your heart and soul, and it will do a great and mighty work. So we hold India and we hold all of those other countries that are struggling with this COVID experience, that they might be blessed and have all of the resources necessary to bring healing to their country. And in so doing, healing to the world. Because what we know about this pandemic, if one country suffers, the world is going to suffer because we are all connected. So you can't have one group of people healed and the other people not. It won't work. So we pray for the healing of those who are in India and other countries. And we see this experience truly being one that causes all of us to surrender and to open our hearts to one another. So as I was saying, that since my travels to India and studying at the Oneness University, I've adopted a mantra. I've adopted a mantra and a life vision and purpose for my soul's development. Because we're all here to develop our soul, and your soul is your consciousness. It is everything about you. Superconscious, conscious mind, subconscious mind, but to develop all of that. And so I had adopted for several years now this mantra for my purpose of being, my life's vision, and my soul's development. And it is this. It says, flower my heart and still my mind. Flower my heart. And a flower opens up. So there are many, many levels, many openings that must take place for the heart to flower. But I ask, Lord, flower my heart and still my mind. Because with those two things, you cannot help but be ushered into the presence of the divine, into a state of enlightenment, of love, of oneness, of wholeness with the divine. Now, what I've learned and seen in these last few years is that you need to be careful what you ask for, because the universe will conspire to give it to you, right? Especially if your asking comes from a soul level. And when you ask from that soul level, the answer to your asking may not always come in the way you think it's going to come. It may come in unexpected ways. Who knew, friends, that being a black woman, or black and a woman, a minister, a spiritual leader and spiritual head of a successful and loving and prosperous and thriving church would somehow be a crucible for her, or that somehow, as all of those things, a black woman, a minister, a spiritual leader, and a spiritual head of a beautiful, thriving, successful church. And as one having what I call, as someone having the audacity to stand in her calling, to stand in her position of all of those things that I named, that would have the audacity and the fearlessness to do so. Who knew that that would be the crucible that would keep me on my metaphysical knees? And I say metaphysical because Mama can't get on her physical knees anymore. Without somebody coming to help me up. But that's okay, because I can get on my metaphysical knees and do the prayer work that I need to do, you see. But who knew that would actually, all of these things would be the crucible that would somehow be the answer to my prayer, to flower my heart and to still my mind. Who knew? Who knew be careful what you ask for. But nonetheless, the focus for me spiritually, for my not only my personal spiritual journey and walk, but my focus for the work that I see myself doing and that I've been called to do. But for me personally has been for me to focus on my heart and whether or not I can keep it open, or does it close in certain situations? Can I keep it open? I shared with you a few months back after reading Michael Singer's book called The Untethered Soul, which really impacted me greatly. But after reading that book, The Untethered Soul, I have been working to keep my heart open and to keep it open consciously, right? But as with life, I find that there are moments where it closes unconsciously as a result of a variety of experiences, triggers, events, interactions, all things of that nature. And so I've come to the conclusion that keeping the heart open is a practice. It's a practice and a process, right? It doesn't come easily. It's a practice and a process. It's part of our journey, the journey that we all walk. It's like, staying awake, trying to stay awake and yet falling asleep on our journey. It's sort of tantamount to being consciously aware and then slipping back into unconscious behaviors or responses, or being open-hearted and then all of a sudden, shutting down in moments of vulnerability. And it happens for all of us. And of course, I'm thinking, how much sweeter would life be if we were able to live in a constant state of an open heart? Wouldn't life be so much sweeter if we could do that? You see, we'd more than likely be enlightened. However, on this way to enlightenment, there are lessons, there are situations, circumstances, people, interactions, relationships that will either do two things. Either they will keep us stuck in the mind with all of the trappings of the mind, like ego and fear and our personal conditioning and triggers, past conditioning, limited perceptions, our judgments, our assumptions, all that belongs into the energy of the mind. And so it'll keep us there on the way to enlightenment. We'll either be stuck in the mind, or these very same lessons and situations and circumstances and people and interactions and relationships can actually be grist for the mill. They can actually be that which is going to further us and move us along the path into enlightenment and into having an open heart that actually feeds and amplifies our soul's development. One or the other. Either all of those things, your lessons, your interactions, relationships, people, all that is either going to keep you stuck in the mind, or it's going to further you to open the heart and move you along your journey. Now, I was thinking, while Michael Singer titled his book, The Untethered Soul, I was thinking what I want is an unfettered heart. And I thought, well, maybe that's a book title in the making. I want an unfettered heart, an unfettered heart that knows only how to love. I want, no matter what, I want a heart, an unfettered heart that remains open no matter what. I want an unfettered heart that actually moves beyond the mind into the heart no matter what the conditions, the circumstances, the people, the places, the things that would lead us to close down. It's been said that the longest journey is the one from the head to the heart. Have you all heard that one? Yes, the longest journey is from the head, because this thing here wants to keep us in our rightness, our judgments. But to get here, it seems like a short distance, but it requires, I say, like a giving up of a lot. It requires deep surrender, a deep giving up sometimes of things that are not serving you well, right? And so because the mind sometimes triggers or behaves in ways that's quite limiting and will keep us stuck in a repetitive loop, doing the same thing, thinking the same thing. And so we have to figure out, how do I get out of this and into my heart? And more importantly, you got to be aware, because sometimes the mind pretends to be the heart. And that's where we have to keep our awareness, because the mind can pretend to be the heart and have you thinking that, oh yes, I'm being loving, I'm being kind, when all you're doing is masking your fears and your judgments and whatever. So we have to watch where the mind is going to play tricks on us, right? But the heart never fails. The heart gives us that sense of truth. And it's the wisdom of the heart, friends, that can cut to the chase. See, the head's going to go around the mulberry bush and have this justification, but the heart, the wisdom of the heart, it cuts to the chase, and it bypasses all of the trappings of the mind, and it actually then takes you to a place of transformation. The heart can take you to a place of healing. The heart can take you to a place of wholeness. It can get you there much more quicker than the head, because the head might keep you looping around, right? Stuck. But the heart opens you up and causes you to move into that place of healing and wholeness and divine love, right? So it lets you access the places that the mind doesn't let you access because of its defense mechanisms. And so when you are moving from the head to the heart, this healing that you are seeking will take place much quicker. I want you to listen to an excerpt from the chapter I wrote in the book, Our Moment of Choice, Evolutionary Visions and Hope for the Future. I was a contributing author in this book. And I want to thank Reverend Charlotte, because in our Wednesday Divine Connections, she opened this up and she decided to read it. And I when she was reading, and I said, that's really powerful. Those were I said, that's really good. Oh, yeah. And then I had this vague feeling. I said, that feels familiar. And then she said, well, you know who said that? And I was like, no. And she said, you did. And so I wanted to read. So I said, let me go back. I want to thank her for that. And in my particular chapter, and as I read it, I was like, wow. And it says, it's elevating our spiritual nature, the pathway to healing humanity. It's also the pathway to healing any relationship. It's also the pathway in which we're going to move forward. But this is what I wrote under before I gave some heart-opening techniques. And I said, fortunately, the expression of spiritual consciousness and spiritual awakening do not require your typical spiritual practices, such as meditation, yoga, mindfulness, and the like, although those are indeed excellent portals and highly recommended, especially for those interested in the spiritual path. Spiritual consciousness and awakening can be developed quite simply by opening the heart. Something universal that appeals to anyone steeped in the human condition and consciousness. Because when we're steeped in the human condition, we're suffering, we're hurting, we might be in pain, there's resistance, there's all this confusion, disagreement, war, poverty. That's part of the human condition. So I say, something universal that appeals to anybody steeped in the human condition and consciousness. In fact, the heart can be thought of as the abiding place for spiritual consciousness and a pathway for spiritualizing the mind. It's popular to talk about keeping an open mind, but it is here where we often find ourselves closed-minded and trapped in our own views, beliefs, and ideologies. Something else is needed that carries the energy of the Spirit. With an opened and flowering heart, one becomes more accepting, forgiving, tolerant, understanding, and compassionate, ever widening the circle to draw everyone in. An opened heart is the repository of the divine and powerfully radiates from its center, drawing everything into itself. See, the heart is a powerful magnet, and it draws everything good and pure and true and spiritual and godlike into itself. This is the magnetic power of divine love moving beyond human consciousness. When we touch it from within, we become a radiating center of loving and transformative spiritual energy that touches everyone in our path and beyond. That was from Spirit. Powerful, powerful words, not just because I wrote it, but because the message rings so true for all of us. You see, because it's the heart that frees the spirit. Sometimes we think it's the mind that, well, if we can figure it all out, plan it all out, work it all out, that then we'd be free. It's the heart that frees the spirit. It's the heart that frees us to be more accepting and more forgiving and more understanding, more tolerant, more compassionate. The head traps you into the concepts and the thoughts of winning and losing. Our society just prizes so much that everybody wants to win. I'm going to win no matter what. I'm not going to lose this point. I'm not going to lose this position. I'm going to win. Winning and losing, right and wrong, right? Superior and inferior. All those things that separate us from the other. But when you are in the heart, it will heal all this sense of separation. When you're in the head, it's hard to forgive, right? Because you keep what they did to me, you keep repeating it. So when you're in your head, it's hard to forgive. It's hard to accept the other, or it's hard to even receive spiritual insights and understanding because the mind is limited in its capacity to see from the spiritual realm. It's limited. And that's a clue, friends. That's your clue. Are you forgiving, understanding, tolerant, compassionate, soft? And if you can say yes, then your heart is open. It's quite simple. But if you are hard, unforgiving, judgmental, self-righteous, the heart is closed. Simple. So the key is to begin to just notice and be aware and witness to your own state of being. Witness. Last week we talked about feeling your feelings, being a witness to what's happening in there. Witness your state of heart. I love a phrase that someone said, we talk about peace of mind, but we need peace of heart. Peace of heart. So we want to begin to observe the state of our heart, the condition. And then we need to move to open it if that's what's needed. You know, if you find that you're experiencing all these other things, then that's your clue. And listen, it may not always feel pleasant to willingly and consciously open your heart, especially if you feel you've been wounded. You know, a hurt animal will go off into, and those of you who maybe have had a dog, but a hurt animal will go off to the side in a corner and begin to lick its wounds, and it takes its wounds. And I'm thinking sometimes we are like that. When we're hurt, we have a tendency to want to withdraw, to shut down, to sulk, to disengage from the process and the like. But while that may serve you in the moment, it doesn't heal you. It serves you, but it doesn't heal you. It traps you in your hurt and in your pain. And if the object is to move along, and trust me, I'm practicing this so that I can move myself to a place of surrender and not be trapped in my own being. So if we're going to really be open-hearted beings and we're going to benefit from living a life that's expansive and connected to God, connected to others, connected to our purpose, then we're going to have to become practice, friends. Practice in keeping the heart open Even when everything tells you to shut it down, everything tells you protect yourself, everything tells you to guard yourself, everything tells you to hide, don't show too much of your love, don't give too much, don't be too open-hearted. You see, when you're open-hearted, your most vulnerable places of your being and your life are exposed. But we have to look at being willing to be vulnerable. If you're going to grow and evolve, then we have to be willing to be vulnerable. I could be like this and protect myself, but I also close myself off from your love, your light. But I could be open and be vulnerable. And there's something in the power of vulnerability. As we grow on this journey, it takes a lot. This is the toughest part, to be vulnerable. It's the toughest part. Because there will be plenty of things that hurt you, and there will be disappointments, and you will feel discouraged on your journey. And all of this will take place, of course, and the mind will tell you all kinds of things, you know. The ego will tell you do this and do that. Some of it's good and some of it's not so good. But if you want truth, you have to begin to listen to the wisdom of the heart. The wisdom of the heart. Because the heart will always lead you in a spiritual direction. The heart will always express higher qualities of spirit, right? And you may not like what the heart tells you because it's going to be quick and pure. You may not like it when it says to you, forgive. You may not like it when it says, let go. You may not like it when it says, empty your mind, or try again, or bless it and release it. Because you may want to hold on or stew in your feelings just a little while longer. You know, we had those moments. I want to hold on to my hurt and my pain just a little while longer because it's serving and feeding some of this in me. And so you might not like it when the heart says, let go. Be healed. Be free. Be in the spirit. And those times are challenging. But if you want to move beyond the limitations of your own mind and get into your heart, that's the fertile ground for living a fulfilled life. That's the fertile ground. The heart is the fertile ground for healing and wholeness. And healing is just another word for wholeness. You want to be whole on every level of your life and affairs. But you've got to be vulnerable at times. And to be vulnerable means simply that you trust in God. You see, when we're vulnerable, we think, oh, I'm doing this on my own. But when you're really spiritually vulnerable, you are trusting in God. You're trusting in God and not in people, because people will disappoint you. I don't care how much you think they won't, they will. You're going to be vulnerable not to put your trust in money because, wealth or whatever can't buy you real peace of heart and peace of mind. It can't maybe not even be able to buy you health and wholeness. If you're deeply sick, it can't do that. Put your faith not necessarily in situations and circumstances, because they're going to change. Situations and circumstances change. God is the only place to place your trust. Even when you're feeling vulnerable and your heart is open, you must place your trust in God. Listen to what it says in Proverbs 3, verse 5 through 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not unto your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. Trust in God, right? With everything you got, with your heart, not necessarily with your mind, but with your heart. And don't lean unto what you think your understanding is and how you think. Lean unto God, acknowledge God, and he will direct your path. If you're surrendered, if your heart is open, God will lead and guide you to your highest and greatest good, right? And in Proverbs 4, verse 23, it says, keep thine heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. Yes, you're going to have some issues in life, but the issues you have can be healed if you're keeping your heart with all diligence, keeping your heart connected to the source of life, wisdom, divinity, spirituality, growth, truth principles as well, right? And if you can do that, then the place to deal with all the issues that come up, you see, is through the wisdom of the heart. Because the heart will guide you and never fail you. The heart is pure. Not when it's coming from our human heart, our heart that's based on, willy-nilly feelings, but the heart that comes from the space of the divine. Now, when you are willing to be vulnerable and trusting God and only God, then all of a sudden you have to be practiced at some other things. You got to be practiced at prayer, practice at praying at all times, praying even for difficult people in your life, as well as those whom you love. See, it's easy to pray for those who you love. We all do that. But what about praying for those people who are difficult, who are challenging, those people who cannot see who you are? How about then? Can you pray for them? Because this, if you can, this is where you will grow by leaps and bounds. Jesus gave us some great teachings in the Sermon on the Mount. And I always say that this is the whole, chapter 5, Matthew 5, is the whole place of his teachings. And these teachings are challenging. They're not easy. But he knows that they will lead us to the greatest good that we can imagine. So I want to read to you from, since we're working with our evolution of our souls, he says this in Matthew 5, verses 43 to 46. And I want to read it first from the King James Version. He says, "You have heard it was said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies, bless those who curse you, who do good, do good to those who hate you, and pray for those who spitefully use you and persecute you, that you may be the sons of your Father in heaven. For he makes his sun rise upon the evil and the good, and he sends rain upon the just and the unjust. For if you love those who love you, what reward have you? Don't even the tax collectors do the same? And if you greet your brothers only, what do you do more than others? Do not even the tax collectors do so? Therefore, you shall be perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect." And I began to think, what is about this? What is perfect? The perfect is keeping your heart open to love. And this is what it says in the Message. And I love the Message because it just gets down into it. So it says, "You're familiar with the old written law, love your friend, and its unwritten companion, hate your enemy. I'm challenging that. I'm telling you to love your enemies. Let them bring out the best in you." See, there's a purpose, bringing out the best in you, not the worst. When someone gives you a hard time, respond with the energies of prayer. Get on that metaphorical knee or knees and pray, right? And if you can't get up from the physical point, you might be then subject to praying unceasingly because you can't stop, but that's okay. He says, respond with the energies of prayer, for then you are working out of your true selves, your God-created selves, not that limited human consciousness. This is what God does, and he gives his best, the sun to warm and the rain to nourish, to everyone, regardless the good and the bad, the nice and the nasty. If all you do is love the lovable, do you expect the bonus? Anybody can do that. If you simply say hello to those who greet you, do you expect the medal? Any run-of-the-mill sinner does that. In a word, I'm saying, grow up. I love this part. He says, your kingdom subjects, now live like it. Live out of your God-created identity. Live generously and graciously toward others and the way God lives towards you. I love that. You're kingdom subjects, meaning you are a child of God, a king, a queen, the daughter of the Most High, equipped with all of these beautiful qualities of spirit. He's saying, live like it. Live like it. Drop that human consciousness that wants separation, that wants to get into all this stuff, and live from the place of God, the repository of love in your heart, the heart of hearts. And he says, live out of your God-created identity. Live generously and graciously towards others, the way God lives towards you. I'm enrolled in a 2-year program. It is the mindfulness meditation teacher certificate program. And I'm studying how to be licensed in that. But one of the areas, and it's different, that we are told to meditate and practice often is called metta meditation. And in a metta meditation or a metta prayer, you are not only praying for the well-being of yourself, but you're praying for the well-being of others, even those who might be challenging. And a metta prayer it's a series of short but very clear phrases. We would call them affirmations, but phrases. A metta phrase might be, may you live in loving kindness. May you experience peace. May it be well with you in your body and mind. May you be free from harm. See, it's always, and then when you pray this metta prayer, before you even pray it for yourself, you can use it to pray for others, right? And especially those who you have a difficult time with. You can say, because when you get into your heart will pray for them. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you experience peace. May it be well with you in your body and in your mind. May you be divinely protected. See, and so when you pray, I've been practicing, and when I pray from that and pray for, this is what Jesus meant. It's a powerful experience. I don't have to get into the heart. If I get into my head, I'm not going to be able to pray. But when I move from here to the heart, I can pray for them. Pray for them. And this prayer is freeing and healing. And as I said in my writing, it unleashes an energy that is transformative. It unleashes a power that is so deep that the soul of you and perhaps the other will begin to shift and to change. But it's making sure that your heart remains open. Jesus put this in his Beatitudes and in his teaching on the Sermon on the Mount because he knew that it would be paramount for us as light beings and light workers and on our spiritual journey. We can't grow and evolve if the heart is closed. It's plain and simple. And so we want to begin to keep our hearts open and filled. May I be filled with loving kindness. And this is what I've been doing. Every time a thought comes up and it's the mind, because I have angst about it. I'm upset, I'm angry, I'm hurt, I'm this. I stop and I say, do metta. May I be filled with loving kindness. And then I bring up, may you be filled with loving kindness. May you be at peace. May you be blessed, you see. And then may I be blessed. And here's the powerful part. They say in metta, you can do this. Image the other person speaking that to you. So have them, as you're meditating, see them before you, and then see them saying to you, and this could be your enemy, have them say to you in your heart's mind, say, Sylvia, may you be filled with loving kindness. May you be blessed. May you be at peace. And may it be well with you in your body. And when I see them saying that to me, And I say that to them, shifts happen. It's powerful. The power of metta, the power of really coming from the heart. And so before I close, I wanted to read to you, some of you know I drink yogi tea, and yogi tea often has some blessings that are attached to the tea bag. And I had already written my talk. I was just kind of reviewing it this morning, and I said, let me have a little cup of tea to settle my tum-tum, And so I got my yogi tea, and I said, let me read what the message for me today is. And this is the God's honest truth. The message says, be giving, forgiving, compassionate, and loving. And I thought, oh God, you have such a sense of humor. I love it. That's the message for the tea bag that I picked. Be giving, forgiving, compassionate, and loving. God means for me to make sure that I remember to be surrendered and keep my heart open and do the practice. It's a practice and a process. And I have that commitment to do that because I've asked for the Lord to flower my heart and still my mind. And if this is the vessel and the vehicle and the situation and the circumstances that God is bringing to me to do, I shall meet it. I shall stand in the presence of the Most High and offer my love and my truth. And in that way, if I keep my heart open, miracles flow, blessings flow, healing flows, goodness flows, and God flows into every situation and circumstance. So, beloved ones, I want you to make a commitment to live from the wisdom of the heart, to go beyond the mind and into the heart, because that is the foundation for all life. I want to just say, beloved ones, I love you. I love you. Yes, you. And you. And you, and even you. Blessings and namaste. And now I think we'll have let's welcome Miss Sahffi Lynne back with her wonderful, loving heart. You can feel the love in the heart. Can't you feel her vibrations in her spirit in her music? Yes, and if you can't, then your heart is closed. Miss Sahffi Lynne.
Thank you so much. This is another sing-along if you'd like to sing along at home. It's a celebration of life. We have life. Such a beautiful day, such a wonderful message to remind ourselves to stay open and in love and in the heart. And what helps me do that is singing. So I encourage you and invite you to sing along. We have life. In the beginning, there was light. In the beginning, there was nothing else. Then she came and gave us her breath. And now we have life. We have life. We have life. We In the center of it all, we have questioning. In the center of it all, we are asleep. In the center of it all, we have happy endings. And we realize there's so much we've yet to see. We have life. 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 We have Now at the end, we can see there was no you, there is no me. Our blindness to love is our downfall. There's only light after all. We have life. We have life. We have life. We have life. I hear my chorus, yes. We have life. We have life. We have life. We have
Wow. Yes. Thank you so much. Once again, Miss Sahffi Lynne. Do you write your own? Is that a song that you wrote? Oh, I just love it. I love it. The words. And I love the way the Spirit always brings the music for the message. Because we didn't conspire, but this is the message for us. So thank you so much. We have life and we have love. You know, beautiful. Those two components, light and love. Light for the wisdom that we need, the understanding, the vision, you know, the knowledge, and then the love to bring forth our lives in a most perfect and beautiful way. Beloved ones, what a blessed it is to be here and spirit back in our wonderful sanctuary, filled with spiritual power. Yes, indeedy. And so I offer my gratitude to all those who participated in this service today, and our sound people, our camera people, people downstairs, helping us to bring this message of truth and love and light to you and to your hearts. So at this time, we want to just take a few moments to prepare for meditation, just to go within very briefly. And I invite you to just close your eyes a bit and just to breathe. And perhaps you want to practice the metta prayer. So I invite you to take a few deep, deep breaths. And fully exhale. Another one. Let's breathe in together. And release. And in your releasing and letting go of the breath, let go of all of those things that are weighing heavy on your mind. Let them go so that the freedom that the heart can bring will heal you. So we move beyond our circumstances, our situations, and we move into the place of complete trust in God. For as you trust God, the answers will come. The direction will come. Your path will be illumined with light and love. Yes. Breathe deeply and fully. Breathe into and out of the heart. May you be filled with loving kindness. May it be well with you in mind and body. May you be filled with peace. May you be loved. Held in the sacred vibration of love and light. Just feel those words for yourself. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be filled with peace. May it be well with me in mind and body. May I be held in love. And pray for someone this metta prayer. And as Jesus said, not just those whom you love, but those who need your love. Pray for them. May you be held and filled with loving kindness. May you be at peace. May it be well with you in mind and body. may you be held in love and light. Now, with your heart open, listen to that soul affirming for you, speaking to you from their heart as they speak your name. May you be filled with loving kindness. Let them bless you. And in this place of pure peace and healing, we let God be God. We say, thank you, Father, Mother, God. Thank you for the good that knows no bounds. Thank you for the blessing of our hearts and minds. Take a deep breath, and so it is. Amen. And amen, beloved ones. I want us to affirm. I just love those flowers in back of me. They're so beautiful. And they make me look beautiful too. Yes. I can affirm my own beauty, you know. Right? Yes. So, our affirmation, it says this: the wisdom of the heart reigns supreme. I go beyond my mind and access the power of the heart to heal, reveal, and transform my life and affairs. I choose the higher way. Praise the good, and so it is. Amen and amen. We are so grateful for you, beloved ones, and we thank you for your loving presence. And I thank those who come with such a heart full of love for this ministry and who come bearing spiritual gifts and spiritual insights and spiritual energy. Yes, the energy that builds up and not tears down. The energy that allows God's love to reign supreme. And it's in this spirit that we bless and give thanks for your gifts, your tithes, your offerings, your presence, and your spirit. We thank you. Here's the blessing that we affirm for our tithes and our offering. It is divine love through me that blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. What a powerful blessing and reminding that love is the way. If you choose to share, at the end of the service, there'll be many ways in which you can bless this ministry and enrich us with your tithes, your resources, your love, and your light. Most importantly, your love and your light. But we're grateful and thankful for all that you give and all that you do. So, my beloved ones, let us now close our service with our closing songs. And the songs that we use is, ta-da! Yes, I behold the Christ in you. I behold the Christ in you. I can see that perfect one. friends, for our first Sunday Reiki blessing. We always offer this, and it's immediately following this service. So just sit and be quiet and open your heart and receive the energy. Our Reiki practitioners are holding sacred space for you. They are sending you high vibrations of love for your healing and wholeness, and whatever it is that needs to be brought into alignment within your being. So sit for about 15 minutes in silence and just simply receive, receive, receive. Be blessed and be healed. And so it is. Amen.
I remember when I first started playing.